Hi, I'm back. Took a break, came back. And yes, you will notice that it's always, this is a continuous thing. I'm trying to do this all in one go because um, I just want to get it done with. My guides have been pestering me about this to tell my story. I've been getting messages and signs and dreams and finally I'm just going to give up and do it. That's what I said. I said, okay. And I hope you know, I hate doing this. I really do. I don't like doing this. I don't care if I make money on this. I don't care if you subscribe or you like it or not. Just as long as whoever needs this, whoever needs to find hope, who needs to hear other people's stories, to know that even though we go through tragedies, even though, you know, we suffer and things don't go like we want them to, things can still turn out good. And things do turn out well, especially now because we are going through an awakening. We really are. You know, the the time is now. Find your inner light, find who you are, and wake up. There is hope. There is so much hope, and there is so much love and compassion. I have so much love and compassion for this world. I mean, I don't really like people, but I do love your higher self, just so you know that. Okay? My higher self loves your higher self. And I may not always be cheery, happy, and accepting of people because I've been walked on a lot. I've been lied to, betrayed. Um, I've been through it. I've just been through it. If you haven't, yeah, I mean, if you watch the series, you probably understand. Anyway, I left off the last one about homelessness, about being homeless. Um, quit biting. I'm nervous. Um, yeah, homelessness. So I ended up homeless because of my back, unable to work, getting no help from anywhere. We lost our house, living in a camper in my brother's backyard, and I, you know, working in his house to try and help pay for things, to help pay for our stay there. I finally got well enough to get a job, which was awful. The job was awful, but it was money, and we were able to, you know, start to recover a little bit when the pandemic hit. But anyway, that was a terrible job. I did not like that lady. I loved her daughter. Her daughter was a sweetie. I loved taking care of her daughter. But her mother, dear God, she would go around and say things, and then 5 minutes later she would say it again. But it was different. It was a different story. It was the same story, but it was different. It would have different details. You know, I would tell her something. An hour later, she would come back to me and she goes, "Oh, do you know so and so told me this?" And I'm like, "No, I told you that. I'm the one who told you that." And she's like, "No, it isn't." You know, and she would get very. She was showing early signs of dementia, um, and it was not pretty. she was she was just really. She would get so angry sometimes, and if you didn't do things just right, oh my lord. And she was a narcissist. I kept running, you know, my whole life I keep running into all these narcissists, these people that gaslight you, want to make you think you're worthless, that you're nothing. And it seems like that has been the theme of my life is like, oh yeah, you're nobody, you're nothing, and oh, my hair looks funny. Okay. Oh well. Anyway, not gonna help it. But it taught me something. It taught me resilience. It taught me discernment. And most of all, patience. Because God only knows, you know, with some of these people, I've had to have the utmost patience. I have had patience. I've had to have patience beyond patience. Um, So maybe that's part of my lesson in this life. That's what I needed to learn. You know, we all come into this life. We choose to be here. I know some people are like, why do I choose to be here? You want to learn. You want to grow. You want to experience what life is like being a human. Because there's a lot to us. We're very complex beings. Our higher selves are here having a human experience. Okay? Just so you know that. And everybody keeps, like, oh God, why did this happen? Why did that happen? Because you wanted it to happen. You needed it to happen for a reason. Maybe you don't know the reason now, but you will. Especially now. We're in a time of great change, great awakening. Our spirits are rising. Light workers are being activated and called to shine, to hold the light. I need to remember to look at the camera. And that's what I intend to do. That's what I'm doing now. I'm shining. I'm holding light. I'm not going to give up. I will never give up. I have been knocked down, dragged through the mud, stabbed in the back, lied to, beaten, abused. But you know what? I'm going to keep standing up. And I'm going to keep looking within. And I'm going to see that beautiful shining soul. Me. And that's who you are. So don't give up. I mean, you've heard. I mean, if you've watched my series, you know that it's all about all the things I've been through. And it's been misery. All of it has been misery and loss. Being forsaken. At least what I thought was being forsaken. Alone. Adrift. Losing bits and pieces of myself. And now we're coming up to the present. Needless to say, things got a little bit better. They started to get better. I quit that job because it was awful and I just couldn't watch her. She was kind of abusive to her own daughter too. She wasn't just abusive to her employees. She wasn't all that grand to her daughter. So I quit that job. Found another job doing home health care. And just when we finally got enough money to move, we get out of there. I've already got everything paid for, this down payment for this apartment. I get this job. I'm working this job. My brother's like, yeah, you gotta go. You gotta get out of here. Get out of here. I'm like, okay, we're leaving. Nope, gotta get that. And I was having a hard time because we couldn't get that stupid camper to move. We couldn't get it to start at first, and then it was stuck in the ground because it had sunk down. It sat there for almost a year, and it sunk into the ground. So we were just like, what are we gonna do? My brother's just on me and on me and on me. And I'm like, holy Jesus. Nothing was going the way it was supposed to be. Even moving it, finally getting it started and getting it moved out of there and into a lot for storage was excruciating. It was just excruciating. I had to drive it there with no brakes. That was fun. We had partial brakes, and we had to do it. We had to move it in the middle of the night because of this. And my cats are dying to get in here. They've been out of here all day. They're just driving me crazy. But they can't be in here. They'll drive me crazy. Anyway. Finally, we get into the lot. We get into our apartment. And it was the best feeling in the world. I remember laying down in my apartment. Because we didn't remember. I had to get rid of all my furniture. When we lost our house, we didn't have anything. We had next to nothing. So I'm laying there in the middle of an empty apartment. No bed, nothing. Just thankful to have a place. Just thankful to have a roof over my head. To have running water. Heat. To have heat. It's no fun living in a camper in the wintertime when you don't have any heat. It was just amazing. The most amazing feeling in the world. And I was so thankful for that. But right after we got into the apartment, I was doing my job. My daughter crashed our car. See, as a home health aide, you have to have your own transportation. You have to be able to go to other people's houses to take care of them, right? I mean, you get mileage. You get paid. Don't worry, you get paid for mileage. And it really isn't a terrible job. I really kind of liked it. But then my daughter crashed her car. I thought we were going to die. I really did. Somebody had dropped what looked like a piece of machinery, a thick piece of machinery, onto the highway and didn't stop to get it. And we ran over it. We hit it. She was switching lanes. She wasn't paying attention. Her ADHD was in high gear. And she crossed over it and hit it. It tore up our car, flew back on other cars, and pieces were flying everywhere. They were whizzing by us. Cars were nearly running into us. It was frightening. But we finally got off onto the shoulder of the road. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. Thank you, Source. Thank you, guides. Thank you for watching over me. I appreciate it. But whatever it is, whatever they are, we made it safely to the side of the road. But that meant that I didn't have a job. I mean, she was okay. She was working at a company delivering meals, and for the same company I was working for. It was a nursing or elderly organization that did these things. So she ended up having to take the bus to work and walk. But, hey, at least we got to work, right? I was thankful for that. And I was thankful that I got to transition into her area because they had an opening for a driver. So that's what I went and did. Now, the first boss that we had was great. I loved her. I wasn't exactly Speedy Gonzalez when it came to food delivery. I didn't want to tell them that, but part of it was because of my mobility. I thought that if I told them that I was having mobility issues, that I would get fired. I didn't want to tell them how hard it was for me to, there were like flights of stairs you'd have to walk up to deliver stuff, and it was just killing me. And it slowed me down. And I didn't want to say that. But my boss then didn't say anything. I loved what I did. I helped people. I got to help people. I would often go and do things for some of our clients on my own time. Or if they needed little things like, would you please take out the trash and put it in the garbage for me downstairs? Sure. Some of the things I ran into. But, I loved that job. I really did. It was hard on me. I wasn't the fastest, but I never had a problem with it. I made a lot of good friends there. Unfortunately, my boss didn't stay for very long. After I got there, she noped out of there. There were some problems here and there, but every company has its little ups and downs. But the next boss we got, I could not get along with her at all. There was nothing in her energy and my energy that meshed. Not a single bit. My last boss, we were like peas in pot, I got along with her. Whatever she needed, and I was always willing to just take on extra work, no matter how much I hurt. I would do it. I was willing to do that. And we needed the money. We had to save up for a car. So yeah. The new boss and I did not get along. And I'm not the type of person that's just going to sit there quietly and say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I would raise up concerns because I was also working there. I was also working in other parts of the company too. So I could see, multiple sides. And she would request things that just weren't possible. And I would try to bring that up to her. Like, you can't, that's not possible. If you do that, you're going to put so much stress here and it's not going to get done. I work in that department also, as well, and we can't do that. That's not, I know you want to do this, but she would do it anyway, and nobody else would speak up. But I'm just like, why aren't you guys speaking up? Well, guess what? I found out why. I got fired. she went and uh, came up with this thing, oh, you're speeding everywhere, you're speeding everywhere, you're dangerous, you're dangerous. Excuse me. So, she wrote me up for that. And for tickets, for things that had already been, I had like 2 tickets. And I paid them. And they were like over a year. They were a year ago. And I had already dealt with that with Bambi. Oh, excuse me. Anyway, I dealt with it. And, yeah, I got fired because they said I was speeding and they couldn't insure me. So whatever. And then she tried to get me fired from the other parts too. And I was like, okay, you don't want me in your department, fine, but don't try and mess with my work in other departments. And then my daughter, she wasn't having any of that either. She quit. And then she just went full-time at her other job. And she was working in another department there as well. But anyway, the whole point of the story is that her firing me was the best thing that ever happened. I know you're thinking, what? You got fired. It was the best thing ever. Because it allowed me to go in other directions. I was happy just to sit there and do that job till I died. You know what? That was not where I needed to be. So Spirit moved me. I was guided somewhere else. I was guided here. Because now we're pretty much caught up. I got laid off from my other job in 2023. And that's when I started to wake up. That's when I had time on my hands to think. I mean, I was still in pain. I had to go have surgery on my hands because I had lived with, that's another thing, I had lived with severe carpal tunnel pain. I still have nerve damage from having it for so long. I had lived with this severe pain for years, literally years, because I started having problems in my late 20s. And it just got worse and worse and worse. But I never had insurance that would pay for it, And then, when I did have insurance, it wasn't very good insurance. And then I lost that insurance. And then I just never had insurance. I could never get it paid for. When I finally got on Medicaid, I lost my job and everything again. I got laid off. I finally could have the surgery. And the surgeon, and it was funny that before, I had tried to have the surgery before, right? But the surgeon refused to do it because my blood sugar was high, because my A1C was like at a 9. And he just, you're not going to heal, just go away. Every single time he refused me. It wasn't until he died and somebody else came in that they allowed me to have my surgery. Finally, in 2023. Years and years and years of chronic pain. Shooting pain up into my neck, down my back, and I was working this whole time with that pain, with my back. My back was a mess. My hands, my arms were a mess. I was practically crippled. My hands were just, I could barely hold a pencil some days. It was so painful. I didn't sleep. I had to have like 20 million pills around me, and, and I had to get just in the right position to be able to sleep. And I went through that for years and years, along with the back pain. It was awful. But it was such a relief when I finally got the surgery. And then I also got what you call trigger fingers too. I had to have surgery on those. I mean, my hands are a mess. But now they're so much better. I mean, I still have the nerve damage, but now I can hold a pen. I'm very thankful for that. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you. And see, even after all that I've lost, I am still grateful. I am still happy. I am still here. I made it. And now I come to the end. Well, not really the end. Just the end of my pain and suffering and sorrows. Because now, that I've found this new beginning. And thank you to Alex Ferrari, Next Level Soul, because it was one of his videos that I watched that woke me up. And I've spoken about that in previous videos. But yeah. And then I started listening to Ann Tucker. And there's other ones that I can never remember their names. My memory's crap. I have to take gabapentin for pain. So that messes with my memory a little bit. But I'm still happy. I'm still here. I am still alive. And I've learned so much, and I've grown so much over the years. I have gained so much wisdom. I have gained so much knowledge, gnosis. And I'm still growing. I'm still waking up. I'm still discovering who I am and what my destiny is, what my purpose is. And that's why I did this. I want you to know that no matter what happens, no matter where you find yourself, look within. Find that light and let it burn. Let it burn and burn and burn until you are so bright that you outshine the sun. Be a supernova. I have read so many different things that have helped, that have guided me. One thing I would suggest is the Pistis Sophia. That is the story of, it was the story that Christ told his disciples in Yeshua. I prefer to call him Yeshua. That was his name, by the way. But in the Pistis of Sophia, he speaks about this planet we live on, this prison planet, how it was created, that the gods that, if you ever read go back and read the Old Testament, and it talks not about God, but gods, Elohim. That's not just one God, that's gods. That's a plethora of gods. He went back and he talked about that, and he addressed it. If you can, one of the things I suggest is to read the lost books of the Bible. Those are books that were excluded, especially the one about Mary Magdalene. But yes, the Pistis Sophia, Enoch, Book of Giants, all of those. Read them. Or if you have, like I do have trouble reading. So a lot of times I have to listen. I have to listen to things, I prefer to go and see a video on it. But something else you should do when you watch those videos, fact check it. Fact check it and make sure it's accurate. That's what I encourage all people. That's why I say, if somebody's talking about the Pistis of Sophia and telling you about what Christ taught, go back and read it. I'm going to tell you right now, the first translation that they did of it, it's just like gobbledygook. I read it. I know that they did it to be, that's how they spoke. It was poetic. But my God, you want to talk about a word salad? Holy crap. I'm like, surely Yeshua, Jesus, did not speak like this. He could not have spoken circles. That just doesn't seem right. But, when people write, they do tend to try and write with a flourish. Well, most people do anyway. Not all people. I'm more of a blunt writer myself. I do try to be smooth when I write, but this is it seems like a very wordy translation. But the older translation, the reason why I read the first translation, the older translation, is because it's free. It's online. You can read it online for free. You just have to type in Pistis Sophia, free online, and you'll be able to find the PDF on it. I think there's several sites that have it. I can't remember. But, maybe read the newer version. It's a better translation. And I think it's more easier to understand. And with my bad eyesight, trying to read that and understand it at the same time, I'm already struggling to read it. But then to have to try and figure it out, yeah, that's special. And maybe check out some other, you want to learn and grow. Ann Tucker. Ann Tucker has a wonderful channel. Alex Ferrari, Next Level Soul. God, Emmerich. God, I can't remember his name. But Lee Harris. I love Lee Harris. He's really awesome. He's always so calm and peaceful. I always like to listen to it when he channels, the Z's. He's a channeler, by the way, in case you've never heard. But I love to listen to him because they're calming. They're very, very calming. They're kind of a smart ass, but sometimes, sometimes it sounds a little condescending. And maybe they are a little condescending. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's because I have an attitude. I always have an attitude, But check them out. Check them out, and search for the answers. Look within. Ask questions. Don't just accept what you see or what you hear, because so much of what you see and what you hear is just a bunch of BS. And like I said, listen to the silence between the silent. And if you want to know what that means, I'll tell you. Because when I first heard it, I thought, what? When I sit in silence, this is one thing I do. I have a hard time meditating anymore because it requires you to sit for long periods of time. And if I try to meditate when I'm laying down, I just fall asleep. Like, it's so comfortable, I'm just going to go to sleep. Sorry, excuse me. But, yeah. If you really want to try it, listen to the silence between the silence. That means sitting there quietly. And not just hearing the quiet. But listen to what is not there. What you think is not there. A lot of people, a lot of the awakened people experience, some people call it ringing. It's not ringing to me. To me, it's a frequency. I experience when I make myself quiet and I'm listening to the silence and I let myself get even more and more quiet and I block out everything else. I hear a frequency. They're different tones. And I've heard that's supposedly your guides or your spirits talking to you. Angels, if you will. That's what you used to call them. Even now, I can hear it. They fluctuate. And it's their fluctuations. They always say that if you hear that continuous tone, it's probably tinnitus. Well, I hear several of them. When I become absolutely still, I hear several of them. But that stillness allows you time to think. Just to be at rest. And you need that. Don't deny yourself sleep. Don't deny yourself respite. Because it's in those moments, it's in that time that you're resting, that you're able to reboot your body. You're able to go within. And don't be afraid to talk to your guides. You do have guides. They're always with you. You are never, ever alone. And you're not the only one on this journey. We're all here. We've all, well, I won't say we all, not all of us has suffered, I guess. But what do I know? I don't know everybody's story. I don't know your story. But don't be afraid of it. Don't hide from it. Don't hide from yourself. Love your shadows. Let it out. Like Ann Tucker says, ugly cry if you need to. Feel those feelings. Don't run from them. You have to alchemize it. You have to take it within and feel it. Really, truly feel it. I know it hurts and I know it's hard. And it's a hard process. It's a long process. But every time that you bottle those emotions up, every time you push them away, you're denying parts of you. All those pieces of my soul that fell away, all those broken bits, I picked them back up. I looked at each one of those bits and I loved it. And I said, I accept you. I grieved for it. I felt what I needed to feel. And then I put it back. I put it back. I didn't throw it away because it was valuable. Every piece of you, every little broken bit is valuable. Okay? You are valuable. I put all my pieces back, and now I am a beautiful mosaic. I have so much more knowledge and wisdom than I did, and I have so much more understanding and compassion and love. You are not alone. Don't be afraid. It's time to wake up. We are on the cusp of evolution. Wake up. God bless you. May Source bless you. May the Monad bless you. May the heavens bless you. May you be blessed. Whatever, whoever. Blessings upon you. Peace and love and compassion to you. This will probably be my last video, because I've only done this because because my spirit guides won't just shut up. Okay, spirits, I answered the call. Here I am. I'm done. Peace to you. Peace to you all. Good night.